between Roseburg and Eugene.
Awesome. Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started so we can honor your time. We really appreciate you being here. Bernie, did you have a question real quick?
Lori, where are you from?
I'm right now in Oceanside, Oregon. So anyway, we really appreciate y'all being here. And we are so excited to introduce to you some people from the Murdock Trust. Kim Newman is the program director for the Partners in Science program. And this is a program that will just knock your socks off. Seriously, as a science teacher, this is something that is just right for you. You couldn't get anything more professional development in science than this, because you will be a scientist for a couple of summers and be part of a larger scientific community. So I was through this, Bernie's been through this, Ty's been through this, and it's a wonderful, oh, and we have Mary Zielinski here, who is one of our amazing mentors. So I'm going to turn this over to Kim Newman, who is the program director for the program, so that she can tell you all about it.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. And I also was a participant in 2010. So I was a high school science teacher in the Portland area for about 20 years, went through the program. And then I was also a coach. So I coached Ty and then worked with Ty and both Lori. And then Mary Zielinski, we'll hear from her later. Sorry, Mary, I'm going to put you on the spot later, who is one of our researchers that supports our program. And she's had many partners over the years. So I'm going to share, take about 15 minutes to share a little bit about what the program entails. Have you watch a 6-minute video so you can kind of get a sense of what it would look like for you as a teacher, and then what it's like for the researcher. And then we'll hear from some past participants, and then open it up for questions. And so really excited that all of you guys are all Oregon, state of Oregon people. So we're really excited just to get to know you. So can you see that screen okay? Yes? I can't see you guys, so.
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so you guys, Partners in Science offers $19,000 grants for high school teachers just to do research along university scientists for 2 summers. In addition to the lab experience, we offer professional development for you all. I'm going to talk to you about in just a second, but it scaffolds on how you translate that research experience into a change in your teaching practices. And this program helps you guys gain confidence and credibility to inspire your students to think more like scientists. And I'm sure just because you're showing up today that you guys are probably already doing a lot of that, but this will enhance your ability to do that, and it's a lot of fun. So Partners in Science, we've been around for over 30 years, and we have worked with over 300 scientists. And by the way, you kind of get intimidated, you know, they're Dr. Zielinski, things like that. But they're wonderful people that love to invest in you. And we worked over 50 research institutions. And at the Murdock Charitable Trust, we work within 5 states in the Pacific Northwest. So that's Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, and Alaska. And today, of course, we're focusing on the state of Oregon. So with over 500 teachers, the Partners in Science program has cost over $12 million. So it's a great investment for the trust. Our trustees believe in the value of you guys as educators, and trust me, through this experience, you will be honored as the professionals that you are, and it's pretty wonderful. So here's a 6-minute video on the impact of Partners in Science in one area in Idaho, in Boise, Idaho.
Every year there seems like there's a fire up here.
Oops, sorry.
Some point. And then we're always out here planting sagebrush because it doesn't come back very fast on its own. I think it's like 25 years before they get to be really big sagebrush. I went to a conference, a Partners in Science conference one year, and I heard some of the research that other teachers were doing with mentors, and I thought, you know, it's time maybe I learn how to be a scientist, because I know a lot about being a science teacher, but had been out of the scientist part of it for a while.
Partners in Science is a partnership between high school science teachers and a research mentor, somebody in a research facility that is doing science.
So there's an opportunity for them to do research, learn some of those practices, and then bring those back to the classroom.
If you're trying to teach science students or high school students how to be researchers or scientists, if you've had an experience doing research, you can be that much better a teacher. So I think that's the key to the whole program.
I'm Sandra Gully. I teach sophomore chemistry at Renaissance High School in the West Ada School District, and I have been teaching science for, this will be my 19th year.
My name is Gina Lockwood, and I teach at Bora High School in Boise, Idaho. I teach AP Environmental Science and non-AP Environmental Science. Personally, I had been out of a research setting for over 20 years, and I wanted to see how science was being done and how it had changed, and it has. I mean, we have drone technology, we have 3D printers now. The things that we can do out in the field are changing so quickly that I wanted to bring that to my students to make sure that they were learning cutting-edge science.
This is my second summer in it. The first year you're a partner, you do research, which was a lot of learning techniques last summer. So this summer, just continue with the same research.
Sandra comes with a background in chemistry. We're actually a biology lab, but luckily she did major in biology as an undergrad, so it wasn't too foreign to her. But to watch her progress in terms of her ability to speak about research is amazing.
My teaching style was basically step-by-step procedures. Kids still were doing investigations, but I think I was always afraid to just let them go with it and let them figure it out on their own.
Partners in Science follows this model. It's called Think Like a Scientist. I always did that before, but I do it more with a purpose now. I have specific vocabulary I use all the time. We set up our journals in a very specific manner. I have them coming up with questions to answer rather than me spoon feeding it all to them.
What I learned from the model that helped me be a better teacher in that regard is let's use some inquiry and let's have students do a little bit of background research and then let them tinker around with their design and ask some questions and keep going back to that drawing board so they can learn the process of science and not so much what's going to come out of it, but just learn the process and really have fun while they're doing it as well.
We're constantly doing different things. We're not just sitting there opening up a textbook and looking through and reading about it and taking a quiz on it. We're very hands-on.
Getting the students out in the field, I mean, they are really doing what scientists are doing. I mean, they're doing all those skills of analyzing, observing, collecting data, communicating that data.
You see what's happening, you get it. You know, it's not just you see a picture and you kind of get it. You see it actually happening.
One thing I've noticed with the students from teachers that have gone through Partners in Science is they have excelled in our science classes. We have quite a few AP classes and a lot of different variety of classes, and those kids are now taking more of those than ever before in our district, and that's pretty exciting for me.
If the world was perfect, all my students would end up in some kind of science field.
I just fell in love after our first field trip. We went to the watershed and we got to do testing above and below the effluent pipe. And so that's what I want to go into now, so I'm really glad I took this class.
If they're excited about science, likely they'll continue that on in college.
We can also see that these high school teachers are able to write to Murdock for equipment grants.
So when they were able to spend $5,000 to $7,000 on equipment that they can use in their classroom, that is not just helping the teachers in the classroom, it helps our teachers district-wide, because we do some professional development opportunities where we'll all come to Gina's classroom and say, hey, show us some of these things you're doing with sagebrush.
So they can actually be planning during the summer experiments they want their students to be doing with equipment that the school would never even have if it weren't for the Murdock Partners in Science grant.
This program has given us money for equipment, allowed us for professional development for other teachers, and again, excites students in science.
I wish that every science teacher had this great opportunity. because then we'd all be thinking on the same plane.
If you need a boost, if you need to learn more about science, this is the place to go.
For me, I can't see why you wouldn't want to have a high school teacher working in your lab. You have the mature person that you're teaching, but they can also be teaching you and your students things that you didn't know about.
It's been a very rich experience for me that's been life-changing for my career. Every year.
I too was really grateful for the program. Lori's going to talk a little bit about how the program works before we move on.
Yeah. So this grant covers a two-year commitment in the summer. It's a 7 to 8 weeks of research work. You and your mentor decide the schedule, and it sounds like it's a bit much, but you need to understand that the pace of the work that you do during the summer isn't even close to what happens during a school year. So it is more collegial. I mean, there are times when you have to be it can be really intense when you're running experiments, but then there's the time for analyzing, which is a little more thoughtful. So please don't let that be something that kind of takes you aback. I mean, it is really interesting. There's a lot of really good stuff that happens, and it happens in a more relaxed atmosphere than a school year. Okay. And there's a conference in August, and Ty is going to tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later, where you get together with the coaches who lead these to help you figure out how to translate your research experience, if not your actual research, into your classroom with your students to kind of kick it up a notch, so to speak. And then in January, here's the big thing. In January, there is the big national conference, which brings together the Partners in Science program here from the Pacific Northwest, but also brings in teachers from similar programs at Penn State and Columbia University in New York, the University of Texas Southwestern, Cal Poly, and Stanford. So you get to meet up with teachers doing research experiences from all over the nation, which is really cool. And during that conference, there are local lab visits. So we're going to be sending you to places where you can find out other kinds of interesting research going on at places like the Navy Research Center, the Scripps Institutes, the SOC Institutes. There's a couple of places of institutes through UC San Diego and General Atomics. So you're going to find some really interesting research going on in that area. And then there's workshops that are being run by former partners who are sharing with you how they were able to translate their research experience into their classroom and what they do, and shares with you all kinds of strategies and materials that you can take as you need and use in your classroom, or give you ideas to help you do that as well. So there's some really great opportunities. And that conference, there's travel funds for you to go there. Your room, your hotel, and your meals are all taken care of there. So you are being treated like the professional you are. Okay.
I know Lori did not mean to miss telling you that it's in San Diego.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yes. It's in San Diego in January, typically about 70 degrees and sunny. So it's typically beautiful. Occasionally we do get some rain, and you get your own room. So teachers, you don't have to share your room like you typically do with another teacher. So you get your own room, and you're able to bring a guest with you. You would have to cover their airplane fare and pay $200 if you'd like them to participate in the conference. But everything is covered by you, and it's an incredible experience with about 300 people, probably 2/3 high school science teachers like yourselves, and then about 1/3 researchers that are involved with teachers that are passionate about the education pipeline from K-12 all the way through college. And so the Partners in Science grant is a $19,000 grant 13,000 of that is a stipend for you as a teacher, 6,500 each summer for you to work the 7 to 8 weeks that Lori talked about. 3,000 of that is for your researcher to purchase lab supplies to do your project. And in some cases that doesn't quite cover what they need, but it's what we have in the grant. And then we have another 1,000 for you to choose any kind of professional development that supports you as a science teacher. So that could be purchasing books, applying to organizations, or saving it up and combining it with some other money that you would have left over in your grant to go to, like I went to Stanford and went to an AP Biology Institute for 5 days, and that paid for everything, paid for the conference and all. And so you can, we have somebody going to the Galapagos Island to do some research with their professional development money. So you can get creative with that. And then the 2,000, Lori talked about this, is that's to pay for you and your mentor to fly to and from San Diego. And typically there's money left over from that category, and that can be used at the end for equipment for your classroom or professional development. So you have a lot of options with the $19,000 grant. So I'm going to go back to this. After the 2-year grant, Dr. Cheryl Jorsic talked about this in the video. You have the opportunity to apply for a supplemental grant, and that is directly apply to it to the Murdock Charitable Trust, and we would make that grant to your high school if it is chosen to be funded. And typically they are funded if they are a well-written grant, and we help you write that. And that is a $12,000 grant. $10,000 is for equipment for your classroom. And then $2,000 is for travel to and from the San Diego conference for 2 more years. So it's a pretty cool opportunity. Oh, and by the way, if you have like 3 teachers from your school that want to all apply, we love multiple teachers from one school or one district because we think that will change the culture of a science department. So how do you apply? Well, first thing, if you guys are interested, we have so many interested researchers that would love to partner with you, but you need to first find a mentor. And so you can work, we'll introduce you to Ty, who is the Oregon coach, in just a little bit. And Lori can help you and I can help you. And then I think Dr. Zielinski's on this call and she can help you as well. So we can help you find a mentor, but you got to get connected with a mentor. And then the 2 of you apply for the grant. And the grant is due December 1st. It is the easiest grant application that a mentor has ever written. It is a little bit more challenging for you. You'll need a couple letters of recommendations and things like that, but it's not difficult. And so why this program? Like, it's been around for 30 years, and does it have an impact? And so we really looked into that. So about 2 years ago, we did research with all of our past participants and our current participants at the time. And so we asked the 20 teachers that were in this 2019 cohort, we asked them, how do you perceive yourself? Because how you perceive yourself is going to impact how you act in the classroom. How do you teach? And so most teachers, as you can see from this bar chart, considered themselves teachers, maybe slightly a teacher researcher. And then after even just 7 weeks of research over one summer, most shifted their teacher identity to viewing themselves as a teacher researcher. And that thought, that identity stayed throughout all the years for our teachers in the program. And then how does it change you as a teacher in the classroom? And so as you can see in this chart, we have things from like a whole bunch of new activities that you learn. You get street cred, right? You put your poster up, your scientific poster up in the back of your classroom, and teachers think you're kind of legit. It's kind of cool. And then you just have much more confidence. But some specific things that teachers changed, which we just want to note here, is first, they restructured their lab. So we're not asking you to change your curriculum or anything like that. We're just encouraging you to make tweaks to how you do things. And so Gina talked about this in the video. Instead of doing cookbook labs, kind of with a recipe that students follow and you have the expected data at the end, students are coming up with questions and designing the protocol. And so you have much more interesting data and way more learning and interesting conversations. You as a teacher and your students become more confident in taking risks and asking questions. And then, as we said, after the 2 years, you get to apply for another grant. And you don't have to do research again for 2 summers for that grant, by the way. It's really just for equipment for you to start doing more inquiry-based projects with your students in your classroom. And so that was exciting to be able to buy equipment for their classroom. Sometimes you may feel like, well, what's in it for the researcher? Why would they want to take a high school teacher in their lab? Well, Dr. Cheryl Jorsic, who we saw, said I was able to work with a fantastic, motivated, and mature individual who loved the experience and opportunity of working in my lab, which invigorated me. And then Dr. Henrik Urbanski at OHSU at the Primate Research Center said he loved the interaction we gained with the teacher and ultimately with their students. It is the ability to share our daily work, the ups and the downs, the sacrifices that we make for the love of what we do. And he recently shared, I believe it was him, he was talking about, he also loved to just walk with a teacher through them making mistakes. Because you guys, if you decide to do this, you will make glorious mistakes, but the learning that takes place is huge. And it's just like the stuff that you want your students to do. So it's awesome. And so the impact, we talked a little bit about this in the video as well, but we typically take about 20 to 25 teachers each year in our program. It's a really high acceptance rate. It's about 75 to 85% acceptance rate when you apply. And of those 25 teachers, you think about your workload, you probably teach 120 to 150 students a day, crazy. And that's about 4,000 students each year for all the 25 teachers. And over a 10-year career, say maybe after you get the Partners in Science grant, that's an impact on 40,000 students. That's huge. You guys are world changers. You guys are building up the future innovators, our future thinkers. So we want to thank you for that. And this program has the opportunity to have a tremendous impact. And so before we get into questions, I'm going to stop sharing and get to see some more faces. And I'm going to give Ty a chance to share a little bit about her experience as a teacher in the program and as a coach. And then I would like Mary to share, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ty Quirk, and I teach at San Barlow High School in Portland, Oregon, or outside of Gresham, outside of Portland. And I was a partner in 2014 and through 2016, and Kim was my coach. And it was very, very different when I went through. And so we have made a full kind of rejuvenation of the program and how we value really the transformation of the classroom. And so there are 4 of us coaches. So there's one from each state that's represented. And what we do is we offer support for all of our teacher researchers. So we make sure that you have a working relationship with your mentor. We make sure that if there's any sort of problems at the lab, that you have a voice and you have an advocate that can help you navigate those, whether it be like getting paid, sorry about my dog, whether it be getting paid or whether it be, you just have a miscommunication or something. That's what we do during the summer. And then we run all of your professional development. And so we are all teachers or past retired teachers that have all been part of the program. And we are basically in the trenches with you. But we have just kind of taken and embraced this model that we talk about and what it means to, give students opportunities within our classrooms to really be scientists. Oh my gosh, she's so mad at me right now because I'm not playing with her. So well, yeah, she's like, excuse me. So it's just, I was 18 years into my career when I was a partner, and it completely uprooted and changed my whole entire teaching career. I'm a completely different teacher now than I was 7 years ago. And I just feel like this grounds me and it rejuvenates me. And every summer when I see the new teachers that are working together in this cohort and they're building relationships and they all have this passion for science and science education, it just rejuvenates my soul to go back and be like, okay, I can still do this and I can still be best for my students. And so you are part of a cohort. And so there'll be every single person in your cohort is actually at the conference with you. We do a ton of work to build relationships between you and your cohort. And so you just instantly join this family of teachers that are super motivated and really impactful. And it's just, it's an amazing experience. I cannot, like Gina said, like everybody has said, if you have any hesitation at all, just like jump, and it will you will be rewarded tenfold, and lifted into your profession and just given so much support and scaffold, and it's just awesome. So
Oh, and by the way, so Ty mentioned that these coaches do most of the teaching, professional development. You do actually get credits for that as well. And so we have worked it out with OSPI up in Washington, and also with the Boise State that you can actually get units from them, and you can take money out of your professional development part of your grant. I think it's $50 a unit, and you'll get 3 units for it. So it's $150. That's pretty cheap for units. So Mary, would you like to share your experience as a mentor and a little bit about your research?
I would love to. Hi, I'm Mary Zielinski. I'm a professor in the Division of Reproductive and Developmental Science at Oregon National Primate Research Center, and also in the Department of OBGYN at OHSU. I've had the absolute privilege of having 5 local high school teachers come through my lab over the years, and I am really, really good friends with 2 of them to this day. It's the best program ever. I would encourage you all to take advantage of these funds and these opportunities to learn more about science, how to be a scientist, and how you can take this back to your classroom and get your students excited about real world problems that scientists are working on, and how it can be relevant to them. We were able to help one of our biology teachers actually earn the Oregon Biology Teacher of the Year Award from the National Association of Biology Teachers, which she was thrilled about. And the superintendent came. It was a really big deal the day she got her award. And I have really, with these 2 particular teachers, gone to their classrooms, one for the past 7 years every year, and one for the past 4 years, doing hands-on activities with them, and this past year virtual, of course. And I personally absolutely love these interactions myself. I didn't have these opportunities when I was in high school, and I can really, really see the value of it. And the students are fantastic when you go there, and I've gotten a really huge appreciation for what high school teachers do. I think you are all saints. And it's a long day. So for one teacher, I went, she had 3 classes of 30 plus students, and I spent a whole day there and did the activities. And then I went back again in a couple of weeks and did the next set of activities. So different mentors dive in, the way they want to, but I think a lot of them are all in and would really, really love to interact with your students as well as you. I was able to take one teacher. He was really interested in going to one of the professional scientific meetings I go to every summer. So he went there and gave his poster there, and I really loved that experience. So there's just a lot of opportunities. The mentors are mentors because they want to help you develop in your career, and are there to help you every step of the way. So it's a great experience, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mary. Mary was a great support for me, and she wasn't even my mentor. And so she helped me with my first oral presentation, gave me some really good input, and has become a friend through the years. And so you develop some wonderful friendships as well. Any questions for your teachers? And I know we have some past partners, mentors. We've got Michael here, and of course, Bernie and Lori. Shannon, your question?
So still trying to, everything sounds good. I just want to confirm this would also be a valuable experience for those that have already done research.
Yes, we prefer you to do research in something that you haven't already done research in.
That's fine with me. I'm tired of pipetting and making this is my first year teaching. I just received my master's. I'm a brand new teacher. It's my third career. I was doing immunology research at the Portland VA many years ago. So I've been in labs. I've done the hood and the level 3, and we were working on some of the viruses for possibly the biowarfare or whatever some years ago, like vaccinations. Anyway, so that being said, I would like to learn some new things in research. I'm not excited to go back into pipetting. So those opportunities will be there.
Yes, so we would, and maybe we need to talk individually, so we can talk later, and I will put my email in here. But we would really want it maybe to be like field research, so really way outside what you have done in the past, because otherwise we're like, why would we want to pay you to do something that you've already done? So,
it was really good work. I enjoy working with the students more. I enjoy more, different personalities like different things. So thank you. That's all I really was concerned about.
And my email's there. Anybody's welcome to contact me. Jeff? And then we'll go Liz.
Hi, yes. Thank you for this presentation. Thank you for giving this information. I'm going to share a little bit about where I'm at, because I think that provides context for the question I'm about to ask. I am currently a teacher on a special assignment. All sorts of fancy things. That means I have a master's, I'm licensed, and I've had a classroom in the past, but currently I'm operating as the science and the science coordinator for the district where I work. The question I have with that in the background, is this position specifically for classroom teachers? And so it's something that I should share with the teachers that I am in service to? Or is there a wacky opportunity for a teacher on special assignment to go do some action research, develop some curriculum, and take it in the high school? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I do know what you mean. First comment is going to respond to your second part. We don't have you work on curriculum. We actually have you work on, we have you take off your teacher hat and be a scientist for 2 summers. And so so working on curriculum during the summer, except for at the conferences. At the conferences, we do have you take some of your old labs and transform them. But we really want you to be a scientist for 2 summers. And yes, we absolutely would love for you to share it with your people. We will fund 50 partners every summer if we had 50. We just don't have that many people that want to work 2 summers and don't know. A lot of people don't know about the program. So please do share it. For you, if you're going to go back into the classroom, like we currently have a TOSA, teacher on special assignment. See, you have to remember, I was a teacher, so I know these terms. And so at least I know the current ones. And so, yes, for that particular teacher, she's able to do the grant. And so if it's something that you are going to pursue, if you could just contact me and we can talk more about it, that would be totally fine. Okay, Liz, I think you had a question. And then Stacy.
So I actually work in Washington, and I had missed the Washington presentation. So is it possible for me to have a mentor in Portland since I'm close to Portland, or does it have to be Washington because I teach in Washington?
Oh gosh, it could be either. So you're near Washington State, Vancouver. So yeah, we have a lot of mentors there. Mm-hmm. And you can work wherever you want. Oh, okay. That's driving distance. We want you to be able to be close enough because, you know, like you would love to have somebody like Mary, if she's your mentor, to come by. So if you love health related work, OHSU and the Primate Research Center, which is OHSU, they have tons of opportunities and eager mentors.
And so it's okay to cross the state.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
One of my teachers was from Battleground, and he came to the Primate Center every week, and I've gone there to his classroom.
sorry, had to figure out how to unmute on Zoom because we use Google Classroom. So also shows this is kind of intimidating, and I hear everybody else's background. I don't even have a master's degree, and I'm a mom. I don't like. Would you be interested? Like, am I even a person that would qualify?
Do you teach high school science?
I do. Yeah, I teach
Yeah.
honors biology and chemistry.
Oh, you're total. Okay, guess what? I had never done any research before, and I'm a mom too, and I had 2 teenage boys at home when I did the program. No, you're totally, some people come with amazing experience, but right, Mary, you've had some that come with much less experience, and you have to they teach you, your mentors teach you how to do it.
We don't expect you to know everything when you walk in. Absolutely not. And sometimes it's easier for us when you don't know anything because it's all new and you know, you're interested. So no, you're helped all along the way and you don't need to know. You will be trained.
Mm-hmm. And they want to somebody that's curious and eager to learn.
So hang on, there's someone who's having some internet connections and she had something in the chat. She's asking about mentors that might be at Fish and Wildlife. Have we been, so can you, it says, are there specific mentors or are there a chance to get someone as a new mentor, and could a mentor not be a research scientist, but say a Fish and Wildlife person?
So the answer is yes, they could work at Fish and Wildlife, but they would also need to be a researcher with Fish and Wildlife. So they would need to be an active researcher being published. And then the grant we could still make the grant, but the grant would end up going to your school and not to, because we don't make grants to government agencies, but we would make a grant to your school. So, but yes, that is workable. Tim. I see Tim, I saw a sign that said Tim Morse raised his hand.
Yeah, so I see the list of like mentors. How do we know what like we would be researching or if that would be something we would want to do?
Well, you see the list of mentors and kind of what they do. So you would kind of find an area that you're interested in. And there's others, you can find your own mentor. Those are just people that we have that's already reached out to us and said they would be willing to take a partner.
Tim, if you click on the mentor number, it pops down and it gives you a description of what they do.
Okay.
And then you would meet with the mentor, you would contact them and just say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm interested in the Partners in Science program. Would you be interested in talking to me about a potential research project or applying for a grant? And then you would work that out with them.
Okay.
They have lots of ideas, I'm sure, that would be helpful. Anybody, Susan?
She had a question in the chat, Susan. It says, oh, okay. So I was wondering if you want to repeat the research opportunity, but for a different field, is that possible to gain resources from different area or fields for your students in school? I'm not, Susan, can you elaborate? In other words, are you saying that you've already done research and you just want to do it in a different area? Okay, I guess I don't quite understand. Sorry.
As an offering, yeah, sorry, I'm going to let the person who has the question speak.
Yeah, I teach chem biophysics. Oh, and you?
One cycle is biology, the next cycle as chemistry, the next cycle as physics. Is that the?
Oh, and you're interested, you want to know if you can do fields, research in those different fields?
Teach them all at the same time each year.
So what we ask is you to do research with one mentor in one field, one project for 2 summers. And the reason for that is because the first summer takes a lot of learning. And the second summer, you really develop some skills and you can actually contribute a little bit more to the lab. So we ask you to do one, but at the conferences, you will be able to gain resources from teachers from all the different fields. So we have physics, chemistry, biology, earth science, and everything. And then no, we don't have you re-enter the program. We would love to, but we only do it one time for teachers. I know Ty's like, we'd love potentially maybe in the future, but not right now.
I would go back to work every summer. I would never go back to every year. Yeah. Back on Jeff's though, we have had researchers that have given teachers the opportunities to sort of build their own projects and their own research. And so if you had a researcher that could incorporate some of those topics together and not cross-curricularly, that might be a suggestion. But we have had, and just because you get a mentor doesn't mean necessarily you have to work on theirs. Some do have you work on their research, but others have had them work on your own project and help you develop your own question and your own research and your own sort of big 2-year project. So,
but mostly it's within the mentor,
within the realm of the lab. Yeah. So,
and if you think about, like, I'm looking at your question, like I put you at Mary, in your lab, it's chemistry and biology and probably even some engineering, because you probably have to build some things and fix things. And so I think a lot of labs are what's that term? Use a lot of the different sciences. Interdisciplinary, yeah. There you go. It's really loud here, but there are teachers from both high school and middle level who are interested in the program. Have middle school teachers ever been admitted? Yes. So for middle school teachers, they do need to have a science degree in the area that they teach. So if they are teaching, in the area that they want to do research. So if they want to do research in a biology lab, they need to have a biology bachelor's or a master's in biology. So, any other questions?
Do you know specifically if any of the individuals on your list are focusing on climate change?
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay, awesome. So I could just go through and ask them.
Yeah, you can go look through their samples.
And the ones in other states, I would find, like, if, let's say, Alaska's interesting to me, so I could find my own accommodations to live during that time in Alaska.
We would potentially, usually no. We want you to be doing research near where you live so your mentor can be involved with your school. And
okay, so you want us to stay within our own. I do have relatives in Alaska, so that was like, oh, I guess, so but you would prefer that we stay within our own areas.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's helpful.
And if you can't find anybody on the list that is interesting to you, please reach out to me, because I have all sorts of contacts. I could help you find somebody. So, any other questions?
It just looked interesting. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'd love to live in Alaska for a summer too. So, no more questions. Yes, Bernie.
Lori, back to the San Diego conference. Will it be at Martin Luther King weekend this next year? And tell us about the keynote speakers. And Ty, tell us the format. Is it posters the first time, and then the second year they give a talk?
Well, I'll go first, I guess, with the speakers, and then Ty, you can finish with that. The speakers we have, hopefully we're in person. It looks like the Delta variant's going down right now. And so by January, we are hoping that everything is okay. And so there's no link for the January contact, sorry, but it's at the Mission Resort. Used to be the Hilton Mission Bay Resort, but it's Mission Bay Resort in San Diego. And you can contact me and I can send you information. But our keynote speaker is Dr. Brian O'Rourke. He's at OHSU, and he does research on both the autism spectrum disorder and the Delta variant. I'm not sure how those two mix, but we provided a grant for research on the Delta variant. He got it, and he was working with it, and he ended up getting a huge NSF grant as a result. So he's going to be our keynote, and then we are having what are called Jack Talks, which are like TED Talks. And we have a woman in chemistry that has developed some patents. I don't remember the details of it. And then I think we have a climate scientist that is doing a 12-minute talk, and then we have a high school teacher presenting. Can we have access to you don't want to pay to go to the conference if you're not part of the program, because it's super expensive. It's about $1,200, but yeah, you're more than welcome to come. So Ty?
So As part of the program, your very first year in San Diego, you will do a poster. So you'll take all of the research that you do and you'll do a scientific poster, just like a researcher would at a conference. We have 2 sessions of poster presentations where you will do one of the 2, and you basically stand by your poster and people will come up and talk to you about your research, and you'll have conversations and form connections. And it's a really fun kind of venue to see other teachers' research and to present yours. And then your second year, you present a 12-minute talk about your research. And so we have 4 different rooms going at the same time. And then as participants, you're able to go and watch other people's research and learn about their research. And so it's a 15-minute segment. You have 12 minutes of speaking and then 3 minutes of questions. And it's just a really fun way to see all of the really super cool projects that people are working on. So.
And your mentor helps you be prepared.
Right. And someone asked about resources, and I put a link in the chat to the Partners in Science page, and down at the very bottom are a couple of videos of some PD that was provided, both of them on COVID. One was on the science of COVID. The researcher took COVID and put it into bite-sized little chunks using NGSS practices and cross-cutting concepts, which I think you might find really interesting. And the other one was on sifting through information, finding out what's reliable and valid and what maybe not be. So some interesting stuff there. So there's some, even if you're not in the program, there's a little bit of information that might be useful for you.
And we did have a great keynote at our last conference, and if you're interested, Ty or I could send you the video. It's Larry Sherman, another OHSU researcher, did a talk on the science of racial bias. That was pretty cool. Anything else before Susan? Do you have another question, or is that an old
hand up?
Well, if you have actually any more questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. And again, we hope you apply. We love getting to know you guys. And you'd see all of us, a lot of us at the conference that are here today. I know that Bernie comes to all the conferences, Lori, Mary does, Ty. And so thank you so much for coming. And we hope to have you join part of the Partners in Science team.